A feeble-minded, sour moon looks down as Billy Lit locks the gate to Carberry's abattoir and stands sucking on a sweet afternoon, looking asquint at the shivering waters. He is wiry and sort of spring-loaded, with black unruly hair and a hint of flint in the eye that would remind you of the ruthless way he used to drive drill bit through punch mark on those rectangular plates in engineering class, or work the lathe, or hammered iron in the forge. Now on this moonstruck night he looks at his shadow on the path under the orange street light, and he wonders if that shadow is cast by the man, or if the man is the shadow of the darkness cast. But such wonderings get him nowhere but bamboozled. So he stamps his feet and monkey thumps his arms to beat out the cold. He has on a donkey jacket over a hooded Adidas sweatshirt, and his jeans and boots are streaked with muck, and he wears his lucky rabbit's foot around his neck. One time the foreman asked if that thing is cured, and Billy said it's dead, and the foreman slapped his arm and said he should be on the telly. 5 short years Billy's been yardman at Carberry's abattoir, contracted in turn to Ballow Valley meats and poultry produce. The man from Anco got him the job, and now there's not a thing he don't know about the ways of pigs. He knows when they see the prod their squeals are almost human-like because they well enough know their fate. Captive bolt to the head, then strung by the hind leg above the killing floor, then a butcher's knife across the throat, main artery split, drain the blood, then down the piggy comes. Pullers tear off the hide, out with the guts and check for parasites. The head goes on a hook and gets winched to the top rack for inspection, and then they split the carcass into sides. Apologies to those of you who've just been to dinner. Anyway, one of Billy's special jobs is to dump the offal in the river after hours, a little extra in his pay for keeping stum. Now, Billy Lit was born to do this work. His father first took him here when the abattoir was no more than a shed. Billy was made to stand outside while the old man went in for dog meat, and he pottered about in the dirt, and then he heard a shot and a great loud moan, then another shot and a thump went through the flagstones. It was all over in a minute, but he never forgot that sound. Sometimes he hears it in his sleep. Can almost feel the mighty heft of that pop gun in his hands. He imagines what a fucking hoot it would be to travel back in time and plug the little shits in school who called him names and treated him like a leper because of his condition. You see, young Billy was covered with so many warts, he looked like something from a Marvel comic. No amount of compound W would affect the cure. This affliction got so bad, his mother took him to see the healer woman, and the healer woman bought the warts for a penny and told Billy to put the coin underneath his pillow, and in a day or two they'd be gone. And it worked and all. But the lads in school still called him names. They said he was retarded and he was a freak, and that the best part of him ran down his father's leg. Billy draws deep on his cigarette, jouted after the long day's work. A pint of Bulmers would go down sweet, a couple even sweeter. He spends his nights mostly in the spoke, pumping coins into the jukebox and playing himself at pool. He likes it there. He likes the rumble and roll of the ball into the pool table's innards. He likes the music that blares from the jukebox and the way the Schweppes crates are stacked by the public phone. And he likes the loading yard where they store the kegs. And most of all, he likes the girls that sit and chatter there like sparrows, bangles and dangly earrings and pedal pushers. Billy never had luck with the birds. Jacqueline Dagg asked him on a walk once, and he went beetroot, but he said, all right. They strolled the prom and sat on a bench, and he didn't know where to look, and maybe she only done it for a bet, because after a time she just snorted and got up and left. But that wasn't near the end of it. She told untruths around the town. She said he pulled his Mickey out and it was covered in warts, but that was a black lie. Billy's Mickey was about the only part of him that wasn't afflicted at some point. But word went through the town of Murn like a dose, and isn't that the way of things? A lie that cheats its passage travels faster than the poor old pauper truth. Anyway, about now in the spoke, Tom the barman will be squinting at the television mounted over the bottles of spirits, arms folded, tea towel slung over his shoulder, watching the late night horror films, Friday the 13th or Salem's Lot maybe. The vampire floating outside the sleeping boy's bedroom, scratching the windows and wanting to be let in. But sure, everyone knows a vampire can't cross your threshold unless you ask. Billy reckons he might have been a vampire killer in the past. He imagines hunting down his tormentors one by one. He'd choose the mark and slip a pig tranquilizer into his drink and bring him somewhere quiet, the handball alley maybe, set him down among the coke cans and the dog shit and the fag butts and slip a Lipton's bag over the head and an elastic band around the neck, the bag inflating and deflating like a funny looking fish. Who's retarded now, fish face? The hard part would be the body. The river would be chancy. The corpse might wash up. You'd have to feed it to the pigs. Their leavings wouldn't fill a slops bucket. A few teeth maybe. It could be done. It's a bank holiday weekend. The pigs go to slaughter Tuesday morning, baking for the winter. And didn't there used to be a man whose job it was to swallow all the badness of the people who died in the town? The Sin Eater, he was called. It would be just like that. The pigs eat the body, the people eat the pigs, and the sin's the man, and that's the way the world goes round. Footsteps on the quay. Someone's coming up the bank. Billy squints into the night. A lanky-looking dork in a three-piece suit. The dork stops down the river a bit and gazes into the water. What is he looking at? Admiring his reflection, his fine-cut pinstripe suit. That suit would look good on Billy. Maybe he should, waylay the dork and do the plastic bag trick and swap clothes and dump the body in the river, and everyone would think the floater was him. He could take on a new identity and move to a town where no one would call him names or remember when he was covered in warts. That suit would be like an invisibility cloak. Money would be no problem. He could sign on in every county. The trick would be to hit when they were busy, and the clerk on the new claims hatch was easily confused. He would stand among those brutes of men talking horse and dog, the queue shuffling like a chain gang, the place rank with the smell of fags and feet. He would put on a traveller's accent, and the man would ask his name, and he'd say, "Jer Connor's boss." If there was ever a fuss, he would just walk out. I mean, imagine the same routine in a dozen different towns. You'd be rolling in it. There must be millions of travellers named Jer Connor. She'd never get caught. When the claims came through, he could book passage on the ferry, and once out of the harbour, he would climb to the top deck and lean out over the rails and look back at the town of Murn and spit and bid good riddance. Billy fingers his rabbit's foot. The dork's finished looking at himself in the river. Now he's coming up the quay. Billy tosses his cigarette and nods, "Gomorrah." The dork nods back. "Might rain," it says. "Might rain," he says in passing. Billy pictures him crumpled in the gutter, a Lipton's bag over his head. "Let it," he says, and pulls up his hood.